Hi, everyone. It's Martina Cheek, Clerk and Secretary for our Committee of Adjustment. We are just waiting for additional members to join us, and then we'll get started. So apologies for the delay.
Sorry, Chad's here now.
Hi, Chad. Sorry for the delay. We'll just be a few more moments.
Okay. Glad to know I'm not the one holding it up.
Well, thanks.
You know what today is? Today's the day you remember who the fuck you are. You did not wake up today to be a weak ass bitch. You're a fucking champion.
That's good, guys.
You're catching
Hi.
up.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. I think your fees up there is on here. If I can get my computer.
Yeah, everything's good.
Okay. Bring it up.
Whenever you're ready, we are recording.
Okay, well, good morning, everyone, and I apologize for being late this morning. Before we begin, I would like to remind you that the meeting is being recorded and live streamed on Township YouTube channel. We will be having a hybrid meeting today with attendees joining us from council chambers and some remotely. So we will be holding the meeting as though we're in council chambers, and we'll follow with all our regular policies and procedures. Please raise your hand if you would like to speak on a matter, and I will call on you. When I call for the vote, I will call for all those in favor, followed by all those opposed. And you will physically raise your hand to vote in the manner you wish to vote. I would like to call the roll now. Please raise your hand and state your presence when I call your name. Jim Patterson? Here. Mark Porter sends his regrets. Robert Lamar sent regrets. And Rod Manley here. And staff, we have Secretary Treasurer and Clerk Martina Chat Harwick.
Good morning.
And Planner Christina Corder.
Present.
And I guess that's all we have there with all the committee, with the committee members in attendance. I will call the meeting to order. I also ask committee members if they have any pecuniary interest. No. Seeing none. We'll move on to approval of the minutes from August the 4th. So we need a mover and a seconder to receive and approve the minutes.
I second them.
Jim? And all in favor? That's carried. So we have a minor variance in front of us. And that is file A0423 Hassan and planning 2023-36, and the applicant is Donald and Anna Hussick. So I guess without further ado, without me hearing one, I'll just turn it over to Martina. Or Christina.
Yeah.
Sorry, Christina, yes.
Just so you know, Mr. Chair, Mr. Hussick is online with us this morning.
Okay, good. Good morning, Mr. Hussick. So welcome.
This is Mr. Dunford.
Yeah, this is Mr. Dunford. You currently see on screen, but Mr. Hussick is in the background as well. So.
Okay, well, welcome. So I'll turn it over to Christine, sorry.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee, and the public. This is the public meeting for minor variance application file number A-0423. The committee has before them report planning 2023-36 with the following recommendation. That the committee review and consider all verbal and written comments received regarding minor variance application file A-04-23. That the committee defer minor variance application A-04-23 until peer review acceptance of the scoped environmental impact assessment, demonstration to the satisfaction of ORCA that flooding hazards have been addressed, and an archaeological assessment has been completed and accepted by the ministry to ensure the application is appropriate for the development of the land and maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan. Should the committee choose to approve minor variance application A-04-23, it is recommended that approval is conditional on the following. Item 1, obtaining any necessary permits from ORCA, Douro-Dummer Building Department, and any other required ministry or agency. that verification from an Ontario land surveyor be provided to the township's chief building official after the structures are framed to confirm that all applicable setback requirements have been met and to ensure compliance with any relief granted by this decision of the committee. Item 3, that prior to the issuance of a building permit, a stage 1 and 2 archaeological assessment be completed by a licensed archaeologist at the applicant owner's expense, and acceptance of the archaeological assessment by the ministry is received. Item 4, that a finer scale survey be submitted confirming the proposed location is situated outside of the flooding hazard. Item 5, that prior to the issuance of a building permit, an elevation and grading plan be provided to ensure the proposed development is located outside of the floodplain. Item 6, that a mitigation measures agreement, be entered into between the owner and the municipality, which would ensure the recommendations outlined in section 12 of the scoped environmental impact assessment prepared by Oak Ridge Environmental Limited, dated September 2023, are implemented prior to the issuance of a building permit and prior to the building permit final inspection being given. The current fee for the township to execute this agreement is $250. And lastly, that if any archaeological artifacts are found during construction, that all development shall be halted immediately and the proper agency be contacted. A brief overview. The owners of the property, Donald and Anna Husak, have applied for a minor variance on their property located at 1076 Duck Pond Lane. Mr. Husak is in attendance today. The owners wish to construct an approximately 22 square meter boathouse for the storage of canoes to the west of the existing detached frame garage. Given the design of the structure, asphalt shingles are proposed to be used on the exterior facing walls. So the purpose of the minor variance is to reduce the side lot line from 9 meters to 3.4 meters and to reduce the setback from a private road from 15 meters to 10 meters to accommodate the proposed construction as shown on the site plan prepared by Elliott and Barr. The minor variance is also required to permit asphalt shingles to be used on the exterior facing walls of the boathouse as shown on the elevation plans prepared by Don Victoria Homes. Notice of the public meeting was given on November 27th by ordinary mail and or email to all prescribed persons and public bodies and to every person and public body that has provided a written request for notice. Notice of the public meeting was circulated by ordinary mail to every owner of land within 60 meters of the subject property. Signs were posted on the property on the water frontage and on the property line facing Duck Pond Lane and Duck Pond Road, as well as at the intersection of County Road 6 and Crow's Landing Road. The notice was also posted on the township website, and the giving of notice complies with the applicable regulations of the Planning Act. After the writing of this report, comments were received from the owner of 1078 Duck Pond Lane, indicating they have no objections to the application. So with the exception of the planning review outlined in the report, senior staff of the township have not identified any concerns. Comments were received from Hiawatha First Nation on November 27th concerning the archaeological potential due to the location of the project, and a copy of these comments are attached to the report. In addition, comments were received from the Autonomy Region Conservation Authority, suggesting that the proposed development related to the minor variance is located within a known flooding hazard, and therefore the application is not consistent with section 3.1 of the provincial policy statement referencing natural hazards. Township staff did undertake some additional discussion with the Conservation Authority, which resulted in a slight modification to their comments, which are the comments that are attached to the report, that identify that consistency with section 3.1 cannot be determined. So the submitted survey does not provide enough topographic information to demonstrate that the proposed structure is outside of the floodplain. And therefore, ORCA did recommend that if approved, it be conditional on requiring a finer scale survey confirming the proposed location is situated outside of the flooding hazard. If the survey does come back confirming the structure is located outside the flooding hazard, it would then be the opinion of autonomy conservation staff that the application would then be consistent with section 3.1 of the provincial policy statement. Orca indicated a permit will be required prior to any development or site alteration, and the subject property is not located within an area that is subject to the source protection plan. So based on the comments received and given the peer review of the scoped environmental impact assessment is not complete, staff recommend that the application be deferred until such time as the following outstanding items have been addressed. With respect to policy 2.1.8 of the provincial policy statement and section 4.2.4.5B of the growth plan, which references key natural heritage features and key hydrologic features. Policy 2.6.2 and 2.6.5 of the provincial policy statement referencing archaeological potential and engagement with Indigenous communities, and policy 3.1 of the provincial policy statement referencing natural hazards. In the event that the committee does not wish to defer the application, conditions of the decision should be included to address those applicable policies, and those have been implemented. So with that, I will turn the application back to the chair for any questions from committee or the public.
Thanks, Christine. Okay, back to, what is, Rod? What would you like to do?
I just have a point of clarification. What's with the asphalt shingles? I mean, obviously, someplace it says that's not permitted, but we're saying it's okay. I mean,
Yes, so through you, through the chair to you, the bylaw does prohibit a number of different types of exterior cladding on structures specifically that are within 90 meters of the water or within 90 meters of the roadway. But given the design, I think it's really designed to have it on the sides of a building. So if you're thinking of like a dwelling, for example, the asphalt shingles are prohibited on that. But given the design of this structure and that it's essentially the roof that comes down to the elevation, staff feel that in this case it would be appropriate.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Jim?
Questionable, is my comment about asphalt sections. I didn't realize when you're building a structure like this, where does the roof stop? Okay, I think that's a quick quibble.
Okay, any other questions from members of the public or the applicant? Oh. You got somebody there?
Mr. Husak, you're muted.
We believe you're muted, sir. You're muted, we can't hear
Can you hear me now?
you. Great.
Yeah. Okay, I just don't understand. I'm applying for a boathouse. How can you build a boathouse if you're not in a floodplain?
Through you. So a boathouse is permitted within the 30-meter setback, but a boathouse is not permitted in the flooding hazard. They're two separate things. So in this case, demonstration needs to be provided to ensure that it's not within the floodplain. So it's very close, I believe, on the site plan that the 2 points of the boathouse are very close to the flooding hazard, but because of the scale of the site plan, it's not clear that it's entirely outside of the floodplain.
Okay, so I produced a plan that showed the floodplain. The building is outside the floodplain. I'm applying for a boathouse. So anywhere on the lake, there is a floodplain somewhere. So how do you build a boathouse if you're not in a floodplain? And I have shown the floodplain on my plan.
So through the chair, again, I think we just need a finer detail on the survey that shows that it is entirely located out of the floodplain. Boathouses are subject to the flooding hazard and must be designed in accordance with that. So through the pre-consultation, I believe the Conservation Authority did identify the concerns regarding the flooding hazard. And until they're satisfied that it is outside of that flooding hazard, we can't be certain that it complies with the applicable provisions of the provincial policy statement.
Do you understand that? Do you understand what?
No, I understand it, and I produced the plan, and the building was outside the floodplain, but I was under the understanding a boathouse could be in the floodplain. I mean, how do you build a boathouse if it's not close to the water or in the water?
Yeah, so through you, Chair, so just again, I think it just, according to the Conservation Authority and the applicable provisions of both the official plan and the provincial policy statement, it has to be demonstrated both through the environmental impact study and to the satisfaction of the Conservation Authority that it is not impacting that flooding hazard. So until we receive a more refined site plan and satisfaction and clearance from the Autonomy Region Conservation Authority and our peer reviewer, we can't be satisfied. But again, we have built conditions into the decision should the committee choose to approve the application. Those would be the things we'd be looking for prior to issuance of a building permit.
So what you're saying is I just have to do this after the Committee of Adjustments?
Correct, through you, Chair. So those things can be provided, and then we can bring the application back to the committee if they choose to defer it today, or if they choose to approve it, they can be provided before the issuance of the building permit.
So,
Make a motion.
yeah, go ahead.
I move that we accept staff's recommendation and defer.
A seconder to that motion, Rob? All in favor of that motion? Motion carried. So we will defer that motion. Do you understand that, sir?
Oh, I understand it. But I
Or
mean,
understand-
generally speaking, why wouldn't you ask me to do this before we got here? I mean, I've been at this now since last June.
Through you, Chair. So the requirements for the minor variance application were outlined in the pre-consultation notes. And the requirements were provided as part of what would be required for a complete minor variance application.
Okay. So, sorry, yeah,
So I understand that the issue is that the diagram layout that we got hasn't got enough detail to determine exactly where this building is located.
Correct, through you, Chair.
Has this gentleman been made aware of that? Does the applicant know that he has to provide the additional information?
Yes, so through the circulation of the agenda, the applicant is provided a copy of the staff report.
Okay.
okay, so you do understand, sir, and I'm just trying to help you here, you do understand what the requirement is?
No, I understand the requirement. I can't believe we went all the way to the committee. Okay, I mean, I'm just trying to store some canoes on my property.
Right.
It's
Right,
not a big deal. I mean, I had all these trees blow down in the storm last spring or the spring before, and I just want to build a boathouse there because there's a big empty space there now. And I'm outside. I had the line. I had the line maximum flood line on the plan. The building shows outside the line. So, like, what do you want me to do? I mean, that's where it is. I mean, there's no confusion on that. It doesn't show that it's inside the floodplain. Even if it does, I mean, it's a boathouse. I'm not applying for a cottage or an accessory building here.
well,
Okay,
I'm sure,
I'll look after it, but I just that's very frustrating.
I'm sure if you speak with Christina and
I know.
talk with Christina and staff will definitely help you get the requirements
And then-
or help you guide you to get
I
the
mean,
requirements.
And then to provide an AI study and then have it peer reviewed. And what the peer review study isn't done yet, is that?
So through you,
Yeah.
Chair. A couple of things I think I should raise for the committee. So when we do receive an application and it contains the information, being a site plan and all of the things that are required to be submitted, we must process that in accordance with the Planning Act, and we have timelines that have to be met. Otherwise, it opens the application to appeal. So we processed the application, having received it, having ensured that the material was provided, but then we circulated out for review. With respect to the peer review, the mandate of the Conservation Authority has changed. So traditionally, we have used the Conservation Authority to peer review environmental impact studies. The province has removed that ability from them, and they are only able to look at it with respect to natural hazards, being the flooding. So that's the scope that they have reviewed it. For all of the other features, for example, wetlands and provincially significant wetlands and watercourses, natural heritage features, we now must use a third-party peer reviewer, and that process is slower than the Conservation Authority. So that's what we've been left with based on the decisions of the government of the day.
Okay, so the solution to this is the applicant theoretically has to have it surveyed more precisely than the diagram that we have to satisfy our needs. That's, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, all right, well, there's, oh, sorry.
So do I have to reapply now?
Through you, Chair, no, there's no reapplication required. What takes place if the committee's decision stands is that you would just provide the items that are listed in the report, and then we will just bring it back to the committee for a decision at a future date.
Yeah,
There
because
would be
you know, reality wise, I've got $10,000 into this now, and I'm just trying to build a place to store canoes. Okay, I mean, so I have to get an archaeological on it as well.
Through you, Chair, yes, one of the requirements from Hiawatha First Nation is that archaeological potential be assessed. So that's a stage 1, 2. The stage 1 is a desktop exercise. The stage 2 is if anything is found, they note it.
So, I mean, it's another $3,000. Okay. This is, you know, very difficult to save some canoes built in Peterborough. Okay, I'll look after this, and thanks very much for your time.
Okay, thank you, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Okay. Guess with no further ado, we'll move on to the second application. And we have another minor variance that I will turn this over to Christina as well again.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee and the public. This is the public meeting for minor variance application file A-06-23. The committee has before them report planning 2023-37 with the following recommendation. That the committee review and consider all verbal and written comments received regarding minor variance application file A-06-23. That the committee approve minor variance application A-06-23 as requested for the life of the structure to facilitate the construction of the approximately 178.2 square meter addition to the existing dwelling, the 2 covered front porches totaling 24 square meters and a covered deck totaling 58.5 square meters, as shown on the site plan prepared by Molly Conlon Design and Drafting, dated June 2023, attached to the decision as Schedule A, and to bring the structure into compliance with the zoning bylaw. This variance is deemed minor in nature and is appropriate for the development of this land. The application maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw. Approval is conditional on the following. Item 1, obtaining any necessary permits from ORCA, Douro-Dummer Building Department, and any other required ministry or agency. Item 2, that verification from an Ontario land surveyor be provided to the township's chief building official after the structures are framed to confirm that all applicable setback requirements have been met and to ensure compliance with any relief granted by this decision of the committee. And lastly, item 3, that if any archaeological artifacts are found during construction, that all development shall be halted immediately and the proper agency be contacted. So via their agent, Molly Conlon, who is present today, the owners, Chad and Sarah Dunford, have applied for a minor variance on their property located at 1517 Bradfield Road. Mr. Dunford is also in attendance today. The owners wish to construct the approximately 178.2 square meter addition to the existing dwelling, which will consist of a 2-car garage, including living space above and to the rear. The owners are also proposing to construct 2 covered front porches and a covered deck. So the purpose of the minor variance is to permit a reduction of the front yard setback along Bradfield Road from 15 meters to 9.98 meters, and to permit a reduction of the exterior side yard setback, which is the angled property line between County Road 4 and Bradfield Road, from 15 meters to 10.24 meters to accommodate the proposed construction. Notice of the public meeting was given on November 27th by ordinary mail and or email to all prescribed persons and public bodies and to every person and public body that has provided a written request for notice. Notice of the public meeting was circulated by ordinary mail to every owner of land within 60 meters of the subject property, and a sign was posted on the Bradfield Road frontage of the subject property, as well as on the township website. The giving of notice does comply with the applicable regulations of the Planning Act. There were no written or verbal comments received from members of the public. Senior staff of the township have not identified any concerns. Comments were received from Hiawatha First Nation indicating they have no questions or concerns. And comments were received from the Autonomy Region Conservation Authority indicating the application is consistent with section 3.1 of the provincial policy statement referencing natural hazards. Permits from ORCA will not be required, and the subject property is not located within an area that is subject to the policies contained in the source protection plan. Copies of both of those comments are attached to the report. So as of the writing of this report, there have been no additional written or verbal comments received from the prescribed persons or public bodies. And with that, I would turn the application back to the chair for any questions from the committee or the public.
Okay. Any questions on that?
No.
Right.
Wasn't there a question on the septic system, the septic tank?
Thank you. Through the chair, we did receive comments from a member of the public relating to the septic system and having it shown on the plan. The applicant did revise their plan and provided a new site plan showing the location of the septic system. The township staff will require at the time of building permit that a septic review be undertaken, and that's included as one of the that will be part of the building permit application.
Very good.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions from our applicants or any members out there? Nothing from, seeing no questions from our applicants or?
No.
Or any, or Molly, I believe, is Molly, Molly's here?
Yep, I'm here if there's any questions.
Yeah, no questions, okay, all right, Rod?
I so move the approval of the application as per conditions outlined in the recommendation by staff.
And seconder?
Seconded.
Jim seconded, and all in favor? Okay,
Yes, best of luck. I think it's going to look beautiful.
yeah, that's great, thanks, Wallace. All right, nothing, I don't believe we have anything else on our agenda. for today. Our next meeting date will be announced. And if no other business, please, why we'll ask for an adjournment. First of all, before we ask for an adjournment, I'd like to thank all of our committee members for their time and their service on the committee this year. We didn't have a lot of meetings, but we did have a few, and thanks very much for putting your time and into that, and I'm.
It's time well spent.
Yes, I believe it is. So
Thank you.
thank you very much, and I also want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas as well. So without further ado, we will ask to adjourn the meeting.
Let's go.
Jim and Rob, and all in favor? Meeting carried. Good. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.